Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'm going to do a solo playthrough of Endeavor Deep Sea. In today's video, I'm going to attempt Mission 5, Fallen Star. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I am set up now to play Mission 5 of Endeavor Deep Sea. This is Fallen Star. So typically in this game, you start with this vessel in the Depth 1 zone. So this is the Sea Star, and then it is connected to this underwater piece called the Looking Glass. But in Fallen Star, the mission tells us that a terrible storm has sent the Sea Star crashing to the uncharted depths. While deep sea rescue and recovery races in from afar, scout the depths that you can reach to see how the disaster may have impacted the area. So we will not have the Sea Star or the Looking Glass in this mission, and this says here that when you gain a vessel, you may choose any Depth 1 zone as its launch zone. And so this mission has 7 columns, A through G, and a maximum depth of 3. So we remove all depth 4 and 5 ocean boards from the game, and we have placed so far in the top left corner there the atoll and then calm seas, and then at depth 2 we have the ledge elevator. And as part of setup, we need to add 2 more random depth 1 zones, and then you can see here we can have up to 3 more of them to the right if we do some sonaring. And then again, as I mentioned, each player chooses any depth 1 zone as their launch zone, places 1 vessel there, and gains its arrival bonus. So let's start by adding 2 more of these launch zones, and I'll shuffle up these surface zones before I place them. So I'll just do this the first time I place a tile of any depth, which is what I typically do when I play this game. Okay, 1, 2. So we have today Volcanic Island, which I did not want to see there, and Decommissioned Oil Rig. All right. So let's look at our mission board here. So for the impact board itself, we need 15 or more points to accomplish that goal. So it's a lower threshold than in some of the earlier missions, and it's definitely doable, but it's kind of neat. So the board's divided into 2 parts. It's the shape of 2 dolphins. And according to the board, this represents the delicate balance of conservation. So each player, you can start impact here on that dolphin's tail or here on that dolphin's tail. But once you have placed one, you may only place impact on 1 dolphin through the course of the game. So you get to pick which one you want, but you're either doing this one, which has a bunch of bonuses, or this one, which is really going to get you more points. So I think I'd like to try to do this one, but I have been having a difficult time winning on this level, so I don't know if that's the best idea. And the other goals that we have to start with, this first goal is to sonar 7 or more times in columns A and B. So we've already got plenty of sonar spaces on columns A and B. We can make that happen. I haven't had any trouble with that one. The second one here is to journal the distant shoals. So that says to place journal discs in columns E, F, and G, which we don't have any tiles in yet. We have A, B, C, and D. So add 3 more columns and then place 6 or more journal discs in those columns. So that's why I didn't really want Volcanic Island, because that's the only surface zone that has 2 journal locations on it. So I rather would have sonared and gotten that one out there. That would have made that goal a little bit easier. And then finally, the third goal here, restore habitats. So we need to have 8 or more conservation discs at depths 2 and 3. So that could be doable. It just takes a lot of discs, and that's been my challenge. I've been really having a hard time pushing this green innovation track up high enough to get enough discs because all of these goals, sonaring or journaling or conserving, are going to be an action where you place a disc on your worker and then need to place another disc out on the board. So it's very disc heavy. And I should clarify on this first one real quick. We need to have 7 or more sonar discs or vessels in columns A and B at the end of the game. So vessels can count too, but that's probably the easiest of all of these because there's already enough spaces in columns A and B to accomplish that off the bat. So anyway, now I've got to pick one of the zones here as my launch zone, and I will choose the atoll. So the arrival bonus there is one bump on the coordination track, so let's move that up. And now before we start, we've got to shuffle these setback cards. I'm going to need 4 of these. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I need 3 bonus goals. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We could put these others back in the box. And also we need our dive tokens here on the volcanic island. So I've got 2 of them. There are 3 here on the ledge elevator and 4 on the atoll. So let's set these over here. And now we can start with the first round. So first we're going to reveal this first bonus goal, fully completed zones. Man, I don't love this one. So we need to have in a solo game 4 or more fully completed zones, where fully completed means it has no dive tokens and no empty sonar track spots, conservation sites, or journal sites. So it is doable, and if you're going to do it, it's best to get that goal at the beginning of the game, but it's not one of my favorite ones. So now I get to recruit a new team member, and I think I'm going to recruit this reef diver. I think that's what I want to do. So that's going to advance my reputation track 1 space, and now I gain 1 disc here, and now I can recover 1 disc. And let's take that first turn. And I think I'm going to start with a sonar action. So I'm going to use my team leader, and I'll place that disc right here. So I need to choose depths 1 or 2, and I will choose depth 1. And one of the interesting things about this level is the base game only comes with 7 level 1 zones, minus the sea star. And then if you've got the deluxe version, like I'm playing with, there's 1 additional zone 1 zone, which is the Orca reintroduction site. So if I do fully build out this map to the right, I'm going to see all of the level 1 zones and kind of choose which one I don't want to include. But let's grab the top 2 off that stack. And we've got Orca reintroduction and dying reef. And so Orca reintroduction is going to make it easier to do conservation actions or less expensive. So that fits with this one, but it also is in column E. That's where we're placing it. And it has a journal spot. So it could help for this one too. It could work for both. Whereas dying reef, it does have the journal spot, but all these conservation sites, they're in the surface zone, and we need to be at depths 2 or 3 for this conservation goal. So I don't know that we want that one necessarily. So I'm going to take this one for now, put this on the bottom of the stack. But we will see that tile again if I continue to build the map to the right. So we gain now 1 coordination, which is good. That gets me into the second tier, and 1 disc, which is very helpful. And now I need to add the orcas. And then again, the arrival bonus for that zone is to gain one of these orca tokens here to your staging area. And then when you take a conservation action somewhere else, if there are no orca tokens on that tile already, you can place the orca token rather than pay the research cost of taking that conservation action. So that's very useful. And now that I've got this additional disc, I will go ahead and activate my reef diver, and let's get a dive token. And this one is either for research, or I can go up 1 space on any 1 track. And the research is always useful, but if I go up on 1 track now, I can go up on this reputation track and then have access to the tier 2 specialists going into round 2, and that might be very nice. And then I really do want to push that green track as much as I can, that inspiration track. So, okay, let's spend this. I'll put my spent ones over here, and we will advance that reputation track. So that is it for the first round. Let's go into the second round, and we start by revealing the next bonus goal. Oh no, zones with at least 1 disc or vessel of all players. So synergistic and thorough. Those 2 are the worst pairing of all of the bonus goals. So that is not good. So this wants me to do a little bit in a lot of places. This wants me to do a lot in a few places. So definitely not going for both of those. So that kind of stinks. But as I said, I have not been having a great stretch practicing this mission anyway. So if I can just get 4 goals of any kind, I'll be happy with that today. So now we can recruit another specialist, and let's recruit this tier 2 specialist, the navigator. So they can either perform a move action or a move action or a sonar action, and I gain 1 inspiration, but I have not crossed into the next tier yet. So I only gain 1 disc. So that goes here, and then I recover 2 discs because I'm in the second tier for the coordination track. And now I can start taking my turns. And I will use the navigator to do another sonar action. So I'll place that there. Sonar here, and this time I'm going to do depth 2. We have not touched the stack yet, so I'll just shuffle it real quickly. My thought is that the rewards tend to be a little bit better at the deeper you go, and we can only go to depth 3 in this mission, but rather than focus on depth 1, let me take one of these, and I think if it aligns well with, I guess, this journaling one, which needs to be over the right, then I can place it here. But if it aligns better with either of the first 2, then I can place it here. So I've got a few options. So we'll take these 2, and we have Underwave Academy, which is another expansion one, and Submerged Cave System. And this one's really interesting and very helpful. Submerged Caves is actually very nice too, though, particularly for this mission, because it gives you a conserve at depth 2 and also 2 journal spots that you could potentially access from the right side. But the last time I tried this mission, I went with Submerged Caves and I wasn't able to make good use of it. Let me try Underwave Academy this time, and I'll put it here on the left so it can get me potentially a sonar action in columns A and B. It can get me a conservation action at depth 2. This journal action won't help me with that goal. But also there's only 4 actions on this tile, and it's possible that I could complete that tile for thorough, which I think I say that every time and then never do it. But let's add the badges and the dive token that are needed. So here's the dive token, and here are the badges. And I think this one could be very useful because I really appreciate the power of the dive action in this particular mission. And some of those bonuses are just really needed. So I could add this dive action to another specialist, and I don't really need more conserve or journal or sonar actions from my specialist as much as I need dive and movement. So I would kind of like to get those. And then crucially, the arrival bonus includes 2 more discs. I really need those too. So now I'm a little bit stuck. I would like to move over to this zone and then sonar, but I just don't have a way to do that because only my team leader can move and only my team leader can sonar now that this navigator is busy. So what I think I'll do is I will dive, and depending on what that dive token says, it might allow me to move or sonar, and if not, then I might just dive again with my team leader. So let's start by diving with the reef diver and hope I get something useful. And yes, I can either gain 3 research or spend this token to move. So I think I'm going to spend the token to move right away. And so I move here, and the arrival bonus is 1 research. So that's good. And now I have 2 discs left. So let's put 1 on the team leader and use it to sonar. And I'm going to take this spot, which actually just gives me 1 bump on the inspiration track and 1 more research. So that gets me another disc now going into the next round. So that's going to be it for round 2. We're going into round 3 now, and we start by drawing 1 last bonus goal. And this is to have 6 or more leftover research. I think that one's probably doable depending on how we handle this situation here. And now I can recruit another specialist. Again, tiers 1 or 2 are available. And I think I'm going to go with another navigator, both for the bonus and just for the utility of being able to move or sonar at this point in the game. I think is really useful. So I'm going to advance the inspiration track, and now I gain 2 discs. And now my coordination track says I remove 2 discs from here. And so I will take 1 off the team leader and then the second off of the reef diver, just to have more ways to do some of these actions. And I think what I want to do now, even though it doesn't specifically help with these goals here, is I'm going to journal. So I'm going to do that with my team leader. So I'm going to journal here. And this is that brown journal type. And these are both good. They're both going to cost the same amount of research, 2, which I have. And both of them will allow me to promote a specialist. So that'll be certainly this navigator to free up their additional actions. But then the question is, would I rather have 2 of the reputation so that I can be in tier 3 next time, which obviously is very good? Or do I want the 2 ingenuity so that I gain another vessel immediately? And I think I want the ingenuity. So I'm going to take this journal card, place it here, and I have to spend 1, 2 research. So I'm out of research. Now I gain 1, 2 ingenuity, and now I can launch a new vessel to any zone of my choice in depth 1. And I'm going to launch here and gain another coordination, and now that's another zone where I can continue diving because there's 2 more dive tokens there. So I guess it looks like I'm going for thorough as opposed to synergistic. So maybe it'll be these, maybe I aim to complete these 4 tiles here if I can. And at this point, I'm thinking I'm leaning more towards doing conserve actions at depths 2 or 3 than doing journal actions in columns E, F, or G, because I'm having an easier time building out those depths than that width. So now I promote a specialist, and that'll be this navigator. So I flip them over. There's no immediate bonus, but now their action is to sonar and dive with only activating them once. But the disc that was there goes back to the supply. And now we need to replace that journal card. So let me shuffle up these journal cards because those were still the 4 anchor journals, the starting journals. Okay. So now we've got this one here, which is worth 2 points towards that impact goal. So that one's kind of nice. And now with the discs that I have remaining, I am going to activate my new hydrographer who can dive and sonar. So I'm going to dive first, take the token from here. And so that's worth either 3 research or 1 impact. And I don't need to spend it immediately. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm just trying to figure out impact-wise. I mean, the points would be good because that's one of the goals. But if I forgo that goal, if I kind of just forget it, I can start moving up on my tracks a lot more. And that might be worth it. But you get a lot of impact from conserve actions, so maybe I need to sonar some more and decide if I'm really going to start pushing conservation in the back half of the game. If I think I am, it might be worth it to go this route because I can gain discs later. If I go this route, I'll gain discs immediately, and immediately always feels good. But anyway, that was my dive action. Now I could take a sonar action, and I will do that here. Let's finish this track. So this is going to be, well, no, let's go here. Depths 1 or 2, and I'm going to do depth 2. And as a reminder, you can take some of these zones from more than one depth. Like I could take a 1 and a 2 and shuffle them and pick one of them. But I'm going to take 2 from depth 2. There we go. Whale calving grounds and sea turtle migration. So a lot of conservation here. This is one of my favorite tiles in the game because you can get a lot of conservation done in a small space. So once you've journaled in this spot, each time you take a conservation action on this tile, you may take a second one as well. So there are 6 spaces here that you could potentially do across 3 actions. And the goal is to have 8 at depths 2 and below. So this can get us most of the way there. There's 6 there plus a 7th one here. We would only need 1 more conserve action. And that's not to say this isn't a good tile as well, but this one would really kind of lock me into here. This one has 3 conserve actions as well. And when you take these conserve actions, you also get to build out your map a little, which is nice. And then anytime you take a conserve action on this tile, you're allowed to move. So it would be nice to get both of these, but I think this one's going to be more helpful, even though the other thing that's kind of pulling me on this, they both have 1 reputation, but this one has 1 inspiration, whereas this has 1 coordination. And I think the inspiration would be a little more helpful right now, but I think I'm taking this one. I think that's what I want. So I'll put the whale calving grounds there, put the sea turtle migration on the bottom. And so the discovery bonus is 1 reputation and 1 coordination. And that is going to be it for round 3. So now we go into round 4, which is where we start getting our setbacks. So we'll draw the first one of those. We have Tsunami. All players move all of their vessels 2 zones to the left or as far left as they can go. Players do not get the arrival bonus for moving. So that's just going to be this vessel moving 1 space. Not catastrophic, but I'd rather still have a vessel here to kind of finish out that tile. But overall, not too bad. So now I am recruiting again tier 1 or 2 specialist, and I realize I've recruited the navigator twice, but if I do it another time, I'll get another inspiration, which will help me right now. That would get me a 3rd disc this round. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to take another navigator. I'm going real heavy on navigators, but inspiration goes up, and now I gain 3 discs. 1, 2, 3, and now I can retrieve up to 3 discs from my workers. There were only 2 out there, and now we can start taking some actions. And so I'm going to start by having this navigator here do a move action, and I'm in the 2nd tier on my ingenuity track, so I can move down to depth 2 and up to 2 zones. So let me take one of these and move 1, 2. And the arrival bonus is to grab one of these badges. And I'm going to take a movement badge and add it to the reef diver. So it's a slash. So now my reef diver can dive or move. So that was the arrival bonus. Now it's time to take another action, and I will activate this hydrographer who will dive and sonar. So let's dive first, and we'll do that from here. So we get this dive token. So I've got 2 dive tokens now, and at the end of this turn, not the round, but by the end of the turn, I need to discard one of these. But that was the first thing I did, was dive, and that first zone there, atoll, is now totally complete. So that's 1 of 4 for thorough. And my second action will be to sonar, and I will do that here at the Underwave Academy. So that's depths 1 or 2, and I think I'm going to choose depth 2. So we have resupply modules and dolphin pods. And I really don't think I need all of these sonar actions, but I do want more conservation actions, and dive tokens as well as nice. So we're going to place that here. I'm going to keep dolphin pods, and this goes back. And the arrival bonus is 1 inspiration and 1 ingenuity. I really need to get that ingenuity track up. And now we add 3 dive tokens here. Okay, so that was the hydrographer's 2 actions. Oh, and by taking an action here on the Underwave Academy, I can now flip a badge from its blue side to its red side. So now my reef diver, when I place a disc here, can dive as well as move. Oh, but before I can continue, I need to select one of these 2 dive tokens. And so for either of them, I can gain 3 research, or I can turn in this one for an impact, or I can turn in this one to raise 1 track. And I think I will turn in this one to raise 1 track. And I'm going to push up this reputation track 1 time, so I'm in the 3rd tier there. And then this one I can hold on to. That's why I've got the little slot for it. So now I will activate the reef diver, who can both move and dive, and I will do that in that order. So I will move 1, 2, and now I gain a blue badge, and it's going to be this dive badge, and I'll place it on this navigator. So this navigator can dive or move or sonar. And is that where I want to place it? I guess I placed it there just in case I was able to promote this specialist. But maybe I'll put it on this one who's inactive. I think that'll be fine. So my reef diver is now taking their move action, and now they will take a dive action, and they'll do that here. So we get another dive token. We can look at that for a moment, and because I've taken an action here, I can again flip a badge from its blue side to its red side. So now this navigator can move and dive, or sonar and dive. And so again, I've got 2 dive tokens here. I've got to use one of them now before I continue. So let's use this one to gain another disc. Here we go. And now I will activate this navigator, and I could either move and dive or sonar and dive. And I can't just sonar and dive because there's no sonar or diving on the spots where I have vessels, which is, I've got both of them on the Underwave Academy. So with that being the case, let's move and gain 1 ingenuity. So I'm in the 3rd tier now, and dive. So we gain another token. Ooh, and I can turn that into dive again, which will just help again with thorough to try and deplete that pile a little bit. So let's do that. Let's turn that in and dive again. And let's turn, again, I can only keep 1. Let's turn in this one and gain 4 research. That's really handy. So for this thorough goal here, this tile's done. This one has 3 sonars, a journal, and a dive, which is admittedly a lot, but at least 2 dive tokens are gone. This one here, I just have a journal and conserve. And this one here, I have 2 more sonars. So it's a lot, but it's certainly doable. Although now that I think about it, with the way that I'm approaching the conserve goal, this one I plan to complete with 1 journal and 3 conservation actions, which means one of these I do not need to complete. And so maybe that'll be the ledge elevator, since there's just more tasks there to do. So, okay, that's where my head's at right now anyway. Although I still have a disc left and I could activate my team leader. And you know what? Let's use the team leader to move. And I'm going to move this vessel back to here to gain another badge. I'm going to take this conservation badge and place it on the hydrographer. So, okay, that's going to be it for this round. Let's go into round, 5, and draw the next setback card. And we have Government Intervention. All players return 1 disc from a depth 1 or depth 2 zone of their choice to their supply. That's not good at all. But I suppose if I had to choose one, it would be this sonar disc right here. So that allows me to take another sonar action on that space and flip a badge. And surely I would like to do that. So let's now recruit our next specialist. And we're in tier 3. So I definitely want this marine biologist. Very helpful, and that gets immediately 2 inspiration. And now we gain 4 discs. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And now I can recover 3 discs from my other specialists. That's a little bit of a tough choice, but I think I'm going to take these 3 for the extra actions. It's always a rare day when I don't take the disc off the team leader for the versatility, but I think this is the way I'm going to play it. So I'm going to start off by activating this navigator who can dive in addition to either moving or sonaring, and I'm going to have them move and dive. So I'm going to move this vessel 1, 2 spaces and go up 1 on the ingenuity track. Or nope, the inspiration track. Man, I was doing so good. I always make that mistake. And now I can dive, and so I'll take a token from here. And let's spend that right away. 1, 2, 3, 4 more research. That is always helpful. And now I'm going to use my marine biologist to journal. And so I'm going to journal here on this space, which is a blue one. There's only 1 blue journal available. So that's going to cost me 3 research, 7, 6, 5. And I gain 1 reputation. And I can promote 1 specialist. I'm going to promote this marine biologist. They're going to promote themselves. And so they're now an aquaculturist, and this disc goes away. And by taking action on the Underwave Academy, I can flip a blue badge to its red side. Very nice. And now I will activate my hydrographer, who can conserve and sonar and dive. So let's start with the dive. We'll take a token from here. And okay, so I can either gain 3 research or take a conserve action for 1 research less, but that's pretty situational, I bet. I think I am probably going to just take the 3 research right now. 1, 2, 3, go up to 8. And so that was the dive action. Now this person can also sonar. So let's sonar here. So I can sonar at depths 1 to 2, and I guess let's go depth 2. The reward might be a little better. All right, so I don't really plan on going to either of these spaces, but if we look at the immediate rewards, both of them will get me an ingenuity, which I really do need. 1 will get me an inspiration, the other will get me a reputation. I think the shipwreck is maybe a little bit better. There's a chance that I'll use some of the actions there. So that goes here. I get 1 inspiration and 1 ingenuity. That and like that. Now I add 8 dive tokens, and every time you take the dive action on that tile, you take 2 tokens off the top, keep 1, and discard the other. So now my hydrographer has taken the dive action and the sonar action, but still has a conserve action left. So we're going to take that conserve action right here, which costs 1 research. And now I can add 1 impact marker to the impact board. So now it is time to commit to one of these 2 dolphin tracks. And we've still got a couple full rounds left. I'm going to go big. It's either this is like the very safe path that'll allow me to definitely make use of some things right now. But this path if I pull everything off and if luck is on my side, then that would allow me to get the most goals. So I am going to commit to this path. So that's going to be worth 2 points. I also realized I never replaced that journal. So let's put this there. Okay. And now I do have a second zone complete for thorough, 1 and 2. So hopefully I can get this one complete and then one more, which I was thinking would be that one. But at this point, I might be just as well off going here, or even here, frankly. So I don't know, we'll see. But I do have 1 disc left, and I'm going to spend it. I'll place it on this reef diver who can dive and then move. So let's dive first and take this last dive token from that zone. And it's identical to the one that I already have. And I think I'll spend it right away for the impact, since I'm going big, right? So I'll place that one here. I've got 4 points on the impact board now, plus another 2 from this journal. So I'm up to 6 points out of 15 on this research goal. Let's just evaluate where else I'm at since we're at the end of the round here. As far as having 7 sonar discs and or vessels in columns A and B, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sonar plus a vessel. So that's definitely doable. And since I've completed this zone, I would like to move the vessel out. So maybe I can just go up there and take another sonar action, and then that would get me where I need to get. Journal actions in columns E, F, and G, I've got 0. I'm not going after that goal. So let's look at conservation actions at depths 2 and 3. I need 8 of them, and I just got my first one here. So 7 more is a lot, but there are 6 that I'm hopeful I can get on this tile, meaning I would then only need to take 1 more on this tile here to get to that goal. So that's possible. And that's definitely doable if I can journal here, because then I can take 2 conserve actions every time I take a conserve action here. And once that journal's there, if I use my aquaculturist, they can conserve twice. So by placing 1 disc here, I can get 4 down on that tile. It's just very disc intensive. So I'm going to need a lot of discs to make that happen. But again, certainly doable. For thorough, I need to have 4 completed zones. And again, completed means no empty sonar actions, conserve actions, journal actions, or remaining dive tokens. So like these badges, these orcas, those don't necessarily stop you from getting the goal. So this one is done and this one is done. I've got 2. I intend for this to be a third. I could do this for 2 more sonars. This one's out of dive tokens though, and I can conceivably do this one too if I can get enough research. So I just need to kind of play carefully and decide which of those is more likely, but this will be the next one that I aim for. Synergistic I'm not going for at all, and then leftover research is possible. It's too soon to tell, but that's definitely something I could conceivably do. And now that we're moving up on this impact track here, I tend to just cut straight across here. Those 3 more discs can be super helpful, and then I can just fill out the rest of these. Each one of these other spaces is worth 2 points. The disc spaces are only worth 1. So that's where we're at. Let's draw the next setback card and go into round 6. We have protected waters. Okay, this one's going to be fine. Find the depth 3 zone that contains the most discs. If tied, choose one. We have no depth 3 zones, so there's nothing to choose. So we can't even follow the rest of the steps, which would just have us replace the depth 3 zone with the top one from the stack, which I'm looking at the stack now and realizing that's a depth 4 on top. Let's get rid of that one. But yeah, we don't have a way to interact with that, so let's just put it off to the side. And we kind of got away pretty clean that time. Now, what makes me nervous is there's only 6 setback cards when we play with 4 every game. And so there's 1 of them left we haven't seen, and then there's 2 in the box. Of the ones we have not seen, 1 of them removes a conservation disc. So that's something I really don't want to do, going for this goal here. So hopefully we don't draw that card. That's a danger. But now I get to recruit another specialist from tiers 1, 2, or 3. And I think I'm going to grab another marine biologist. Let's get the 2 inspiration. And if I could promote them, then that's even more conservation actions, which will be really helpful. So 2 inspiration, 1, 2, we get another impact. So if I can just keep spamming that impact, that'd be great. So I'll put that here. And now I gain 5 discs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I can recover another 3. And I think that will be these specialists with the additional actions. They are the ones to use. Okay, so moving up on that coordination track would be helpful. Now that I'm using so many discs on these specialists, it'd be good to free them up a little more consistently. And another couple spots on that ingenuity track it'd be really nice to get another vessel, really. But the extra movement's not necessarily critical. And now this was kind of a bummer, but I planned it. So I'm going to put a disc on this navigator to then move and dive. And I'm not going to be able to utilize that dive action, so it's a waste. But I think it's still worth it. So I'm going to move this vessel off the Underwave Academy. I don't need it there anymore. Just one space over to get to those whale calving grounds because I need to do a lot of stuff there. So the arrival bonus is 1 research. Now I'm going to do a bunch of stuff here, so it's going to be pretty cool. Let's start with this marine biologist who's going to journal, and we will journal here. We need to do that first, and that is the green journal. So there's only one available, so let's take that. It's one of the anchor journals. That's going to cost 1 research, and now I can promote 1 specialist. And let's promote, I think, the reef diver, because that will get me a bonus, and then I don't lose that ability to dive, but I also gain the ability to journal, so that might be useful. So we promote the reef diver to an underwater photographer and gain 1 reputation. And now we replace the journal. All right, and the other benefit of this journal is I can place a disc here and take a conserve action on a space where I do not have a vessel, as long as it's at the same depth I have a vessel. So if I, for instance, move that vessel out, then as long as this vessel's still here, I can take a conserve action on that tile. So that could be very helpful. But now that the journal action's out of the way, I'm going to go nuts with this aquaculturist and take 2 conserve actions. So I'm going to conserve on this tile. And now that I have a journal there, when I conserve, I get to conserve again. So I'm going to take these 2 spaces for 2 research each. I go down 6, 5, 4, 3. And this one is going to get me a reputation and a coordination. This one gets me a coordination and an inspiration. And now I get the link bonus for 1 more inspiration, which gets me an impact token. So that goes here. That's another couple points. And that was the first conserve action. So now I conserve again. And again, because I have the journal, I can conserve twice. So I'm going to go to these 2 spaces, which will cost 1, 2, 3 research. 1, 2, 3. So I'm out of research. And this one gains me 2 reputation. 1, 2. This one gains me an impact marker, which I'll place here, which gets me another disc. And the link bonus is 1 more reputation, which gets me another impact marker. So I'll place that here and gain another disc. All right, and I think I'm going to spread out a little bit. I've got an idea here. I'm going to use the underwater photographer to move and then dive. So I'm going to move this vessel to here, which advances my reputation track, and then I will dive. So in this case, on the shipwreck, I gain 2 tokens, and then I select one of them. Ooh, that's great. So I can keep one of these. So this one is just 4 research. This one is either 4 research or promote a specialist. And if I promote a specialist, then I can use another specialist. So yeah, let's discard this one and keep this one, but I now need to discard another one before the end of this turn. And I'm going to discard this to promote a specialist, and it'll be my navigator here. So this disc goes away. It goes back to the supply, promote them, no immediate bonus. But now this hydrographer can dive and dive again and sonar. So just looking at the board, that would really help me to clear out this tile for my thorough bonus. So I've got 1, 2, this will be 3, and I think this will be 4 because I'll be able to get that done fairly easily now. So that was my underwater photographer's move and dive action. And now I'm going to spend this token that I've been holding on to for another impact marker. And I'll place that here, which will get me another disc. Okay, and now I will activate this hydrographer who can dive twice and then do a sonar action. So let's dive once. And on the shipwreck, again, we take 2 and choose 1 to keep. Ooh, and let's keep this move action. That could be helpful. This one's discarded. And now we dive a second time, take 2 more. There's only 2 left. 4 research or journal. Let's discard the journal, keep this, and then spend it for 4 research right away. So that gets me up to 4. And now I can take a sonar action. So I'll place a disc here, which doesn't give me another zone, but it does give me 1 coordination and 1 research. So the research is good, the coordination is great because that gets me up into the next tier. So that is going to be it for this turn. We're going into the final round, so let's draw the last setback card. Oh, this is the one that I didn't want. Exhaustion. Each player returns 1 disc of their own from a conservation site of their choice to their staging area. Oh, that's a bummer. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this one because it's the cheapest one, and at least it goes to the staging area rather than the supply. But now this tile is not complete for thorough, but I can potentially use this action to complete that again without having to go back there. So I think that's the best thing I can do in a suboptimal situation. So now I recruit 1 specialist up to tier 5. So any specialist that I want here on the board. All right, and there's a lot of interesting things about this biogeographer down here, but I think I'm going to go with the vessel captain. That double move action is super strong. So let's take that. I gain 1 ingenuity. I would really like 1 more ingenuity. It'd be great so I can get another vessel. But now I gain 5 discs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I get to take 4 discs back off of some of these specialists. So I think 1, 2, probably 3, and 4. That's the way I'm going to do that. Okay, I've got a lot of discs, which is good because I need a lot of discs. And I'm finding I'm going to want a lot of move actions. I'm not sure how I'm going to get them all, but I think I'm going to start actually with this vessel captain. It makes me kind of nervous, but I'm going to go move 1 to here and gain 1 of these Orca tokens, and then move 2 back to here, gain a reputation. And those are my 2 moves. I hope that serves me well. But it sets up this hydrographer really well, so I can dive and sonar and conserve. So let's do conservation first. I guess we're going to do conservation here, and I'm going to do 2 because of the journal. I'm going to go here and here. This one costs 4 research, but I'm going to spend an Orca token instead, so it doesn't cost any. And the other one costs 0. So this one on top is going to be 1 reputation and 1 impact. Reputation by itself gives me an impact. So that's going to be 2 impact tokens. So let's put those there. This bottom one also gives me 1 reputation. So that goes up again. And then the link bonus is 1 impact token. So that's 3 of those. So we'll put 1 there. Let's just 2, 3. We'll finish out this nice dolphin picture, I guess. If we fill it all up, we can just spam that space. But that was conserve. Now let's also dive. We're going to dive here. So I take the last 2 tokens, and I get to keep 1 of them. Ooh, boy, those are both enticing. And I think, shockingly, I'm going to get rid of the one that could give me a disc and keep the one that could allow me to move. But so I've got 2 identical ones. I have to spend 1 before the end of this turn. But I am still mid-turn, so I did my conserve action and my dive action, and now I'm going to do my sonar action. And I'll do that here, so I can sonar a depth 3 or greater. So we will shuffle the depth 3s. Let's make sure these are all 3s since I had a 4 on top. Okay. Shuffle these up. I hope I get a good discovery bonus. Ideally, 1 ingenuity, because that would get me my next vessel and would save me from having to do another move action. So 1, 2. Okay, we've got Vortex and Carbonate Spires, and Vortex will get me that ingenuity I'm looking for, and that's really key at this time. This would just get me reputation, which would loop back onto an impact marker, but I've already got more impact than I need. And I don't really care about the journaling, and I don't care about any of the actions. I'm not going to go there or do any of them. So let's, I don't know, put it here for simplicity's sake. And now I gain 2 ingenuity, 1, 2, and that gets me my 3rd vessel. So let's launch it here and gain another Orca token. And now I've done my conserve, my dive, and my sonar. So it's the end of my turn. I've got to spend 1 of these tokens. So let's spend 1 to take a move action. And we're going to move that vessel 1, 2, 3, and gain a research. All right. And it was good to get that movement action, but I'm a little worried I'm going to run out of discs, and I don't really see a way to acquire more, so I might be in big trouble. Though, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. That's not where I'm gonna move to. I'm going to drop that research back down. I'm gonna move to here and gain an ingenuity instead. I think that's what I'd rather do, because now I can activate my underwater photographer who can dive. So let's take a token from here and make it a good one. Advance a track or gain 3 research. Well, I think the research is what I need at this point. 1, 2, 3, and then take a move action and go here and gain 1 more research. So I'm up to 9, and I'm running out of discs. All right, well, I'm kind of stuck, I think. I'm going to use this hydrographer to sonar. I'm going to have to just forgo those other 2 diving actions, which is kind of okay, because I want to leave my team leader available for maybe 1 more thing they can do. But so I'm going to sonar up here at depth 3 or greater, and I really hope one of these spaces gives me some discs. So thermal vents and cold water reef. Neither of those is going to cut it. And I don't think any of the other benefits really matter at all. So I guess I'll place thermal vents here. Doesn't really matter. So I get 2 ingenuity for that, which gets me 1 impact. So we'll put that here and place 4 dive tokens there. Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to go there. So now I'm going to spend this dive token to take a movement action, and I'll move this vessel to here, and that gets me 1 inspiration. Oh, and geez, I forgot. When I took that sonar action, I didn't actually place the sonar disc. I need to do that, right? Okay. Well, that makes things even worse. So I'm going to spend this token here to take a conserve action at the same depth where I have a vessel, but not necessarily a tile where I have a vessel. And I'll go here, which costs 1 research and gains me 1 impact. So I'll place that on here, and that's going to be it. I'm going to be out of actions. That's too bad. I came really close on some of these, and I could have done that a little differently and maybe squeezed another disc out of it, but I was never going to achieve everything I wanted to, which is really a shame. So it's definitely the best I've played this mission so far, but man, this exhaustion card it gets me every time. I hate that card. And there's really nothing you can do to mitigate it other than just avoiding conservation actions. And it kind of bugs me that there's not a similar card for the journal action and the sonar action, because I think it's just an unfair penalty against that 1 action. So anyway, rant aside, let's see how I did. So we'll start with the impact board, and we'll just count these up. These are worth 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, plus 22, 23. So I needed 15. That one is accomplished. So 1. Then this one, I needed 7 sonar discs and or vessels in columns A and B. So I've got 1 vessel, and then if we count the sonars, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a combined total of 7, so I accomplished that goal. I didn't even attempt this one. I have 0 journals in columns E, F, and G. That's fine. This conservation one really bugs me. I needed 8 conservation discs at depths 2 or 3, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am 1 short, and I lost 1, and I had a vessel on this location where I easily could have gotten any of those, and I even had the Orca to pay for it for free. So 1 disc short really annoys me, but we'll keep going here. Thorough I did complete, and so I've got this one is fully completed, this one is fully completed, this one's completed, and this one is completed. I needed 4, so that one's accomplished. Synergistic, I need to have vessels or discs on 11 tiles. I did not even go for that. And then this last one, scholarly, I need 6 or more leftover research, and I've got 8, so I accomplished that. So looks like I got 4 out of these 7 goals, so technically that's a win. It's kind of a weak win in my opinion, but it does always feel good when I get the impact board one. That one seems like it counts for a little extra in my head, and I was just so darn close on this 3rd goal. If it wasn't for that, stupid last setback card. Then I would have had 5, and I would have felt much better about that. I think the trap that I've fallen into a few times is trying to do both of these, and it's sort of the same trap as in Mission 1, because sonaring and journaling and conserving all take a lot of discs, and so you can't generally do all of them well. So it's better to pick a few that you can do instead. And then pairing thorough with synergistic is always just terrible. So if that had been replaced with, for example, advancing the orange and green tracks, I would have been okay there. So that's just luck of the draw a little bit. But hey, what are you going to do? It's still the best I've ever played this mission. I think I'm going to keep trying it, but I feel pretty decent about it, minus that setback card. That really bums me out. It would have been pretty exciting to get this goal too. But hey, better luck next time. So if you made it this far, please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. It really is helpful. Leave a like. I do appreciate it. Maybe share it with somebody else who you think would enjoy it. Let's try and grow the channel a little bit. You can also head over to my coffee page, ko-fi. There's a link in the description. You can drop me a couple bucks if you feel like doing that. And that really does help to keep the channel running, and I appreciate it very much. And finally, leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Did you catch anything that I missed? Or should I have done something differently? I would love to hear about it. But that's all I've got this time on Table for One. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.